Hi, everyone. Carrie Warnick with Multi-Region Purchasing Co-op. And here we are again to talk about that new category cost tracker spreadsheet. Now, I did release a previous video about the spreadsheet, and it was a little too early because I got a little too excited about my newfound formulas to make this thing work. I've received a lot of great feedback and some recommendations. I slept on it and realized a few other columns needed to be added into that tracking spreadsheet. So I am about to present to you the newly updated and a little more flexible for you to edit as an end user of the spreadsheet. So let's get started and look at the updates and also a few little things you can do to create new columns that you might need that I haven't thought about or that maybe others don't need, but you prefer to have that information in there. Okay, let me share my screen. And you know me, I get very excited about Excel spreadsheets. So there is that. Okay, so what you are looking at is the category cost tracker spreadsheet. And I have not changed anything about the tabs. You still have basically two tabs that you will really ever need to look at. There is a third tab. It's titled Validator List, and it's what I'm using to create drop-down menus for you to select from. That can also be changed, but if you require a change in those lists, let me know and I can update it and send it to you. All right, so let's first address one of the things that I did yesterday because I was so excited that when I was playing around, I was just grabbing categories, I was typing in an item, they didn't necessarily match. And it was pointed out that while I did share, don't look at my incorrectness, that still became a focus for some, which I am all about constructive criticism. So I appreciated that feedback, and I have completely corrected my examples to hopefully be a little more correct and on point and make sense, because my goal is to never confuse anyone. And this really is a tool for you to fill in with equipment you're planning to buy, equipment you've already purchased, supplies such as plumbing parts or what have you, service hours if you require repairs. So really kind of drive a spreadsheet that allows you to not only track individual costs to do with all those things in your kitchen, but where are you in annual aggregate amount for any one of these categories. And as you know, TDA does expect you to have a pretty good idea of the equipment condition in all of your campus locations, whether you've got some kind of a tracking report that you have, dates of when equipment was purchased, how old is it, how many repairs has it had. I've even thought about that as a tab in this spreadsheet. So if you want to give me feedback on that and what it needs to look like for you, I welcome all of that. Let's move forward and talk about the newly updated spreadsheet, because I did reorganize some of the columns, and I've added some new columns based on some recommendations from all of you that responded. And hopefully this maybe includes a little better information and details. So obviously I've got just the little description at the top. What is this? It's a tracking spreadsheet. Once you download the spreadsheet, you can delete that row one. I don't think you need that, but if you want to keep it there, that's fine. Just highlight it and click on delete. You can always right click once you've got a little arrow over here, click on delete, or you can also hide it. That doesn't make it completely go away. You can always bring it back by highlighting the whole spreadsheet. Now I clicked in the little corner with the little triangle flag. I bring my cursor here into a row, I right click and select unhide. I'm going to teach you a few little tricks about Excel as we go through this spreadsheet, which maybe will help you with other spreadsheets. All right, so I've also will be including the link here for this video, even though you did get it in the email. Again, that can be deleted or hidden, so your choice, what you want to do there. I sort of rearranged that district name, fiscal year, and I would include a date range here. So if your fiscal year is 8/1 of 24 to 7/31 of 25, I would set it up like that. Or if you want to just completely type out the months, that's fine. I would definitely just give a date range so it's very clear what is your fiscal year. Some of you, I think most of you maybe start with September 1, whatever that looks like. All right, we've got column A, which is your category. This has a drop down with all types of categories taken from our sample list, and this can grow. So if there's something you guys want me to add, shoot me an email and let me know. This list is pulling from the second tab, which is category aggregate totals. Now, this is a tab you'll be looking at for totals, but that's where this list is coming from. So if you're wondering, that's where that is. I might add it to the validator list just to be having everything on the validator list, but for now, that's where it is. All right, next is campus name. Which campus is getting this piece of equipment or these tables or requiring service? What does that look like to you? This may not even be important. Any one of these columns, like campus name, various little things you don't necessarily have to complete, but this might help you have a little better time tracking. This is filterable. So every column set up, if you filter by campus name, which I like this column because of that, then you get a full picture of, okay, what have we done at, this ABC middle school this year? What's planned, what's purchased, so forth. So it's going to help you maybe filter and sort in ways as you go along, which is a very nice feature, I think. Third column is item description. Well, what is the item? Is it something, tangible, like a convertible bench table, floor scrubber? Is it something to do with, services that are ongoing, plumbing repair services? What is it that's going on in your kitchen that requires you to track based on the category? Now, this is what you're going to type in. Same here. This is what you fill out. Purchase status has a drop-down menu. It's either been purchased, it's either planned, or it's ongoing services throughout the year. So you decide what is that proper status. And maybe it's planned, but at some point you purchase it, you could very easily come in and change that status and enter a purchase date, which leads us to the next two columns. You've got a purchase date column, and I did format them to be month, day, year. You've got a planned purchase date column. So if it's planned, well, when do you want to purchase this by? This might help you get organized around. All right, I've got, one piece of equipment I really need it by October 1st. I've got several pieces of equipment I really need them by November 1st. Maybe this all becomes one big bid, and I just do one bid and I get all my equipment awarded and have it done by October 1st. So this is going to sort of allow you to plan around your forecasted items, hopefully. All right. Next, you've got vendor name, and then you've got item brand name and manufacturer, product code, or model number. Now, and I have set this up so that it, whoops, try to get that over there. I have set this up to hold that one column, as you notice, as I scroll. I don't know why it's being so chicky here. Vendor name, I had a recommendation for distributor. I decided to call it vendor because vendor and manufacturer brand can be different, or they could be the same. You could be purchasing from, say, an equipment broker or an equipment distributor. That might be XYZ company. And then they might be selling you a certain brand name. So could be two different companies there, or it could be the same. Maybe you are buying best ever tables from the best table company out there, meaning Best Table is the name of the company and they're selling the best tables ever brand. So, you've got a choice there. If you don't want to enter a vendor name and you just want to enter a brand name, that's fine. This might allow for a little deeper tracking. Obviously, you want to include the manufacturer, product code, or a model number, if applicable. Obviously, I did not include brand name or model numbers on service. It's just simply a vendor. Plumbers R Us. All right, I tried to stay true. You notice I tried to be correct all with my information here, make it all legit. Okay, price per each. I didn't want to say price for hourly rates, price for each piece of equipment. So I just did per each. So I did make a notation on the services in my item description that it's plumbing repair services and there's an hourly rate, so that when I get over here for my price per each, I'm showing that hourly rate at $125. Now, you should be proud of me. I did look up some potential costs for the actual equipment that I was giving examples on. So this is within range. So I tried to be a little more exact with that. So this is the price per each. Number of items needed. Well, if I need 20 new eating tables, that's what I'm going to enter. If I need one or two, whatever that picture looks like. Now, on service and repairs, I know this is a sore spot when it comes to having to procure for repair services. I just threw out a number, 100 hours. I have, hopefully you can look back, and this is the way I would work this. I would look at 2 years of historical expenditures with repair services. And if you had, say, $12,000, $13,000 in plumbing repairs in any one given year, then I would kind of target that for the following year, unless you just know you've got some other plumbing issues that are coming up. And if you're tracking, some of the age of equipment and parts and pieces, maybe you've got a better picture there. Maybe you just need to ballpark this. If you're going to at least have 100 hours, which is going to throw you into a small purchase or what have you. And to be honest, when it comes to routine purchases, which services do fall under routine, because while you're not planning when they'll happen, they do happen periodically throughout the school year at different campuses. So that is considered a routine expense, which is really technically to be done through a small purchase acquisition. Micro purchase is really for those one-off, one-time purchases in the school year. An emergency last minute purchase, got to run to the store and get something, so when we talk about repair services and repair parts, kind of all routine purchases. Now kind of just stick with your small purchase acquisition. Get a company awarded, get a backup company awarded. And then you've just got those companies, you're going to call on them every time, their rates, and you have planned for up to $50,000 in cost. If you've looked back 2 years at historical expenses with these types of companies, and you're going to stay under that 50K threshold, you're safe. So some of you that are really large districts may exceed that 50K. I hope not, but you might. Just probably depends on what it is, and you would need to bid appropriately. So, drop in what you think is the best guesstimate here. Now, nothing has changed about the calculator columns. You're going to enter what you know for price of each, a current known price, or maybe you sent out for quotes and you know exactly what it's going to cost you. Maybe you are entering what was done this past school year and your exact cost. You may not need these what if 5% or 10% higher, but they're nice if you're forecasting and planning, because if you're planning right now for, say, these convertible bench tables, and you see online they're $1,600, but when you actually go out for bid, which might be in August, maybe the cost went up, maybe the cost went down. So kind of having a range and analysis, which is required by TDA, it's nice to see, okay, what if it went up 10% higher? Is that going to throw me into another procurement method? I may be teetering right on the line between that $49,999 and $51,000 or higher. So, things to kind of take into consideration. Now, as a means to avoid having to just redo this spreadsheet and the calculator columns, I realized that yes, many columns can be added after that column in that last calculating column. So I gave you a multiple number of empty container columns. If you decide you want to have warranty information, that was a recommendation. Well, maybe you create a column that's for warranty details. It's an open slot, and now you can just type whatever you want next to any of these items. Maybe you've got some other piece of information you want to add and have and track. These are open for you to create whatever you need, and that could vary from district to district. I had one district that at first wanted to have some kind of a tag about food or non-food, but we had a conversation, and now that person wanted to hold off. No big deal, but if they want to add something like that in here, it could be item type. And maybe we've got a non-food tag that we're going to type in. So you get to drive all of this information, and all of these, if you filter something over here, all of these will filter along with it. Now, if you go and you need more columns than this, and you're going to add, say, another column, you'll need to reapply the filter. And I just simply highlight this, go up here to sort and filter. I unfilter, and then I add it in again. And now that new column that I just added, well, I didn't add it, but it should be and contain a filter. Now, I probably could make this a table. I'm just not a big fan of tables because of various reasons. However, that is something I could do maybe later, but just know that if you're going to add more than these columns, reapply your filter. You can also just highlight the entire row, go up here and undo the filter that's existing, reapply the filter, and now you're going to have all the cells out beyond here having the filter on it once you create a column. Okay, there's the new purchases tab where you're going to track what's planned, what's been purchased, when, what store, what vendor, what brand, all that good stuff, what campus. Everything that you tag with a category and a total cost will start to aggregate over here on the second tab, category aggregate totals. And you are going to see now that the 20 cafeteria tables are going to run me $32,000 unless things go up. I'm still within my $50K range. I'm above $10K. I've got to do a small purchase. This is a drop-down column. So you've got a drop-down, straight micro purchase. If you haven't self-certified, that's anything 10K and less. If you have self-certified, that's anything 50K and less. But keep in mind, what is a micro purchase? It still has to qualify as a micro purchase. If it's between 10K and 50K, that's a small purchase. Anything over 50K is going to force you into a formal procurement method. And that could be an IFB and RFP. So you've got choices there. Now, things to look at as you're tracking. So really, the best way to go about your school year is before the school year gets started, prior to that start date, you're maybe even a year out, you're looking at what are your needs in the upcoming school year? What equipment needs to be replaced? What kind of money do you have in your fund account? Do you need to bring that balance down? You really should be looking at all this about a year out and really planning what is going to be purchased in the way of equipment, kitchen tools, parts. What are we looking at that's about to go out? We know this, it gets repaired every year. It's 15 years old, etc. So you should be filling this thing out well before you get into the new school year. That's a perfect world. We all know that. So things are going to happen. You got to make some last minute purchases. Ice machine goes out. You thought it was good. Now you got to replace it. But if you're tracking your needs ahead of when you need it, you're going to get the best overall view of what procurement method really is going to be appropriate. And I did include a new column, notes. Again, this is on this particular tab. If you want more columns, just add them after, these columns that are already there. Build your own spreadsheet for whatever. I don't have a filtering on this because this is our tracking. You don't want to apply a filter to this row because the the function and formula in these cells right here is very specific and tied to specific columns in your purchases spreadsheet, and also very specific to what sits right here in these cells. If you filter this, all of these will become chaotic and not give you the right amount. So this is a non-filtered tab, but you can certainly add more columns if you need to. I left you a thing for notes because as we start to review, you start to build your needs, your plan to purchases, and you're looking at items in this category. Well, if it goes up 10% or you need to add one more item, it's going to put you over that 50K threshold. And you probably just need to do a formal procurement method. And anything after that will need to be a formal procurement method because TDA is looking at your annual aggregate cost. And if they see you had a purchase here and a purchase there and all the totals add up to be over 50K, they would have expected you to be better planned and more appropriately procured on all those purchases. So this planning tool or already purchased within a fiscal year tool will hopefully help you avoid those pitfalls of improper procurement, which could produce a finding and could produce fiscal action, and none of us want that. So, hopefully you find this tool useful, but just know that everything is neat and tidy here. You've got columns that you can add over here, and hopefully this all works for you. Would love to hear if you need to add to the categories. I am all about building a great list of sample categories or creating this as a perfect tool that meets all your needs. All right, there she is, updated and ready for use. And I know many of you are excited by this tool, and get everything you purchased this past year in, and now you've got something for your review if TDA ever asks, and they probably will at some point if they haven't already. And then get on top of what you're planning for next fiscal year with those funds. All right. Thanks for watching, and I appreciate your patience on this because often some of these projects are a beloved work in process, and hopefully not much more changes occur, but stay tuned if they do. All right, thanks everyone.